Hello, lovelies. It's story time. And this is a story by Audrey Cefaly, and it's called Vanishing. Walter sat at the DMV tapping his expired driver's license against the side of his seat. He thought back to 4 years ago when he was here last to have his license renewed. It was at this moment he realized he was wearing the exact same regrettable tan colored button down as the one from before. He looked up to see a young woman staring at him. Had she read his mind? Was it that obvious? That shirt again, really? He smiled at her weakly, but her expression did not change, and he understood that she was not, in fact, staring, but simply lost in thought. He tried to reconcile the opposing logic, at once the confusing idea that a woman would choose his face for any activity at all, passive or otherwise, and the all-affirming observation that she had chosen his face as the stopping-off point for a daydream about something so flatly uninteresting that she'd forgotten she was staring in the first place. His life, in a nutshell. He might as well be wallpaper. He wanted to snap his fingers. Had she fallen asleep, into a coma? He cleared his throat. The woman startled and looked off in the direction of the overhead display to see if her number had been called. She looked down again at her ticket, breathed another heavy sigh, and then closed her eyes. 39, a voice called from a nearby workstation. Walter sat in front of the white wall. He handed the clerk his old license and paperwork. He straightened his back and raised his chin as instructed. The clerk focused the camera and clicked twice. Silence. "Do you see me?" Walter asked. "Sit over there," the clerk said. "We'll call you when it's ready." Walter stared at the clerk, who had now moved on to laminating the license from the previous customer. "Thank you," he said. She did not look up. Walter moved to the nearby bench to wait for his card. To feel utterly insignificant, he knew of no place better than the Department of Motor Vehicles. Here you could be ignored in all sorts of ways, with new ones being invented all the time. He looked around at all the sad, empty faces. Not a single person was happy here, except for one. Walter smiled at the little boy across from him who was scissoring his legs wildly, sucking on a Tootsie Roll Pop. "Do you see me?" Walter asked. "I see you," the boy replied. "You look like the UPS man." The little boy hopped off with his mother, shouting, "UPS, UPS." Out in his car, Walter sat slumped in the driver's seat, staring at his new license and its impressive anti-counterfeit detail. Polycarbonate card body, laser engraving, tactile text. The previous color headshot now replaced with black and white, somehow rendering him, if possible, even more invisible than 4 years prior. He imagined the long queue of people standing in line to steal his identity, only to politely pass upon further scrutiny. He ran his finger over the photograph. Vanishing. Walter slipped the card into his wallet and looked up at his reflection in the rearview mirror. Was there ever a time when he wanted to be seen? 3rd grade, he thought. Mrs. Tipton. How pretty she was in her long linen skirts and cardigan sweaters. He never knew the scent she wore, but he decided it was roses. He would raise his hand for any reason, and sometimes for no reason at all, and she would look at him and smile. "Yes, Walter?" "Nothing," he would say. "I forgot the question." Thank you, Audrey Cefaly. Stay safe, lovelies.